Tomorrow is the general election here in the UK. Now, I've been able to vote since the mid-1990s, and I have never known a run-up to any election as vile as this one. Social media is packed full of people venting their full fury by turning the caps lock on their mobile phones, spewing out their infantile, impotent rage in a way which frankly makes me ashamed to be British. But something I find very interesting is that very few people are talking about who they're voting for. It's all about what they're voting against. And if the hysteria was removed, people are making some good points. I've seen a lot of Labour voters saying that if the Conservatives cared so much about the NHS, then why haven't they done anything to fix it in their time in office? And that's a valid point. I've also seen Conservative voters saying that Labour's spending plan is very unrealistic and will lead to higher national debt. That's also an interesting point. And then we get to the candidates themselves. Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson. And I know there's a lot of hero worship around these guys, but I look at them and think, is that really the best we've fucking got? It's like voting for which leg you want broken. But again, this mudslinging continues, with Labour voters saying that Boris Johnson is an old Etonian, and on more than one occasion he's used derogatory language about women and ethnic minorities. And that's true. And I've seen Conservative voters saying that Jeremy Corbyn openly supported the IRA and opposed the police using shoot to kill against terrorists. That's also true. We've not even got to fucking Brexit yet. The Conservatives have. That's been their entire campaign. 3 words: get Brexit done. Repeated endlessly. Now, it's not quite so simple for Labour, because they want to go back to the EU to negotiate a new deal, and if they get that, they want to come back to the British people and put it to another referendum. But it's more complicated even than that, because Labour are likely to have to form a coalition with the Liberal Democrats if they want to get into office, and the Lib Dems have already said they want to fucking revoke Article 50 and stop Brexit from happening. How has it got to be this much of a mess? In fact, to show how broken British politics are, just to be clear, I live in a Labour constituency. On Monday night I got home from work and some Labour activists had shoved a load of bum through my letterbox, and amongst the various paraphernalia was a letter which has apparently been written by a concerned neighbour. A concerned neighbour, not someone who works for my MP. How fucking thick do they think we are? Anyway, this letter goes on to explain that it doesn't really matter who's the Prime Minister. What matters is who looks after us in our local area. So please re-elect my MP. Now, I do take issue with this. It's a general election. Of course it's fucking important who the Prime Minister is. That's pretty much the point. And secondly, on a week when a general election is happening, my MP is actively seeking to distance herself from the leader of her own party. I mean, to be fair, I'm sure the same thing happens in Conservative-held seats. A concerned neighbour will write a letter saying, look, we know Boris Johnson's a bit of a twat, but our MP wants to keep his job. And whatever happens, whatever the result, there will be people who are upset, who don't want to accept the results. But people not accepting a democratic result is what's led to this shit dragging out for the last 3.5 years. Now, tomorrow is the election day. I won't be posting a video on it. In fact, depending on how the election turns out, I may never post a video again.